Hey everyone, welcome to the CSI Secret Store community call. Today is the Jan 6th, 2022. This call falls under the CNC of Code of Conduct. It's recorded and will be published to YouTube. Okay, let's get started. First of all, Happy New Year. This is the first call of the year. And then in terms of announcements, we don't have any, and then we can jump right into the agenda. We only have a single item in the agenda, so it'll probably be a short call. But if there's anything else that you want to discuss, feel free to add it to the list. So the one item that I added was a user opened an issue on GitHub. So today the sockets that the directory that we use for configuring the provider's socket path is /etc/Kubernetes, which is basically using the path that was used before when we were following the binary approach for invoking the provider, right? And then the issue that they opened was, in general, we should be using var run for placing the sockets. One thing is today we allow this value to be configurable in the Helm chart. So if a user wants to change it, they can change it in the driver and then also make the similar change in the provider to be able to place the socket there. But since this is a breaking change, I wanted to bring this up in the call and see what everyone else thinks, because the user also opened a PR for it. So if this is something that we want to support as a breaking change and make it in 1.1, we can do that. But I would just want to bring it up for discussion.
Yeah, I'm still reading it.
Seems reasonable to me. I don't have any objections. I think, given that it's already configurable, we can do a reasonable job of cutting users over. I guess, it'd be good to outline exactly what we'd do. Like, would we be able to do it in such a way that users don't have to change anything, but just have to upgrade a provider and a driver in sync or something? Or would it be more involved than that?
Yeah, I think if they use the old driver, so like 1.0 has the default value of etc Kubernetes Secret Store CSI providers. So if they install the older version and the newer version of the provider, then it can fail. So basically, there has to be a note for the driver saying, for the user saying, if you're installing less than 1.0, less than equal to 1.0 of the driver, then make sure that you set this particular flag to /var/run in the driver when you deploy it, because the new provider uses that. And then vice versa, right? If the driver they're deploying is latest, but if they're trying to deploy the provider version that still uses /etc/Kubernetes for the socket path, then we just need to define that in the documentation. So I think it's mostly something that has to be documented, saying that there is this discrepancy. But also if they deploy both of it in sync. So if they deploy 1.1 for driver and newer version of the provider, then it will just work out of the box.
Sorry, I think I only heard about half of what you said initially, or like only processed about half. But I'm pulled up basically the GCP one to look at it, and I don't know that we would want to require both things to be upgraded. Like we may want an extra lace to check both paths on the driver, so that then providers could to make it so that it doesn't require like specific downtime to make the change.
I was having a similar thought as well. Try a couple of locations by default if there's no specific location provided, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think we would probably just want to expand it so that it's more backwards compatible to like n-1 version of the providers kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, so logically we can check different paths, right? But that also means we have to mount all those different paths. So for backward compatibility, if you want to support it, we have to mount what we are mounting today, that is etc Kubernetes. And then we also have to mount var run.
But if it comes from the provider side, which is the client, then I think that avoids the need for multiple mounts, right? Is that what you were suggesting, Tommy? So that the provider checks for multiple paths and the driver just switches over to the new path, like once the providers have had a chance to get one version ahead, basically. So like we release, say like the next Vault provider release checks in both the current location and the planned new location. That gets released, and then like once we've gone past one release cycle, then the driver cuts over in the release after that. That was what I understood, but maybe I was wrong.
I am thinking the opposite of what you said.
Okay, so the driver goes first, in which case there'll be multiple mount locations, right?
Yeah, because it's right, the providers open up the listener socket and then the driver creates the client one. I think it might be an easier
sorry,
path.
I got that the wrong way around. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think it might be an easier path for the driver to try creating clients against two paths.
Yeah, agreed. I was thinking client first, but I just got them the wrong way around.
Yeah, or like n paths. Like we could make we could make it just configurable to more than one path, and then the default is 2. Someone could make it just 1, something like that.
Yeah, if we are going to do that, I don't even think we need to do the clients for multiple paths. Like when we create it, we can just start and then do that, because we create the client today only when the first request for that provider comes in. So when the first request comes in, the hope is the provider is already running, because otherwise the request is going to fail anyways.
But you still need multiple host paths, I guess.
Yeah, the mount needs to have both.
Yeah.
And I think that is reasonable, like for backward compatibility, right? Like we can do that for a single release, giving time for all providers to switch over. And then maybe after that, we can say after a certain release, the default will be this, and then they just cut over to this.
Yeah, and it might be worth putting a note in the change log for the last release in that chain saying, like, don't skip the previous release, or you might have some downtime during upgrade.
Okay, so for the just our meeting notes, I was gonna say I think it's like a reasonable change, but we want probably the driver to support for multiple paths for a path to it's not 0 downtime, but path to backwards compatible. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the other just like there are a number of Unix sockets created for like the kubelet and the CSI driver, like node registrar and stuff like that. Are those all in var run?
No, they go into varlib. Varlib,
okay.
kubelet, and inside that path.
Okay. It's still all var something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yes, I think they also have a PR, so we can take a look at that and then see if we can go with that. So maybe we can guide them to the change. If not, we can just make the change for the next release.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other thing. In their issue, they mentioned like 2.0. We think this can be a minor revision. Is that what we settled on, or?
Yeah, I think 1.1 is fine. Oh wait, does it say 2.0? Oh, maybe in the PR.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're doing 2.0 of the Helm chart. Yeah, I think now that we discussed of doing this backward compatible and then slowly deprecating it, I think 1.1 should be fine. We don't need a major release for it.
I think we. Did we have this as like a hard-coded path in like, hey, providers need to. I can't remember what we ask of providers with this path.
Sorry, what was that?
I was just adding a note that we want to probably create issues in the provider repos to move to the new path.
Yeah.
And then I thought we had a documentation page on how to write a provider.
Yeah.
That we'd probably also want to update. Then. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on that one? So I think if you're fine with that, yeah, we can include that in 1.1.
Yeah, sounds fine.
Okay. Yeah, I think we didn't have anything else on the agenda. Is there any other topic that you want to talk about?
Nothing from me, thanks.
I don't think so. I think it's been a while since our 1.0 release.
Yeah.
I saw an issue had made a few like CVE updates. Like, do we need to get a release out before we get you know, like, I guess depending on how quickly we get the features that we wanted for 1.1 out, but
Yes. So I think, yeah, I mean, for the CVEs, probably we can cut a patch release. Maybe we can do that 1.0.1 this week. What do you think?
yeah, that might be good to just like a new year. It's been a while, practice the release too.
Yeah, sounds good. We can do that. So we can plan that for this week. Oh, it's already Thursday. Okay, so we can plan that for maybe next week.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will open a PR to cherry pick some of the CVE fixes, and then we can cut a release. And then I think for 1.1, it's so this var run is one, and then the token request client, I am making changes to that PR right now to also enable caching. So we cache the token and not request it, even if the token is already valid. So I'll open it up for review probably tomorrow, so that we can review it next week and get that merged.
Awesome. Cool.
And then in terms of issues, I don't think we've got a lot of new issues. This was one thing I was going to look at, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, I just saw that one. I'll also take a look.
Yeah, this metrics, they should only control the runtime, but it should have the other metrics as well, unless they haven't enabled Prometheus. But yeah, we can check that. But apart from that, I think we've been, the rest of all is answered. Okay, and then we can also quickly look at test grid. Yeah, I think this has mostly been green. The image scans were failing because there was a CVE, but that is also fixed now. So cool. Anything else?
I think that's good.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks. Have a good
Cheers.
one.
Bye.